for the second day in a row.
Some of those patients will turn into ICU admissions and subsequently deaths. The critical care system is in the GTA, Greater Toronto Area, is under so much pressure.
Many worry that this emergency brake just won't be enough and are calling on extra protections for essential workers. And as the City of Toronto ramps up vaccination efforts throughout this long weekend, not all those eligible have been able to book their appointments. Plus,
we have food security issues that have been, laid bare by the pandemic, and we had them before, but Daily Bread comes through, and so do people supporting Daily Bread and all the other food banks in Toronto.
The Daily Bread Food Bank kicks off its Easter food drive. It's just one of many efforts this weekend to tackle food insecurity.
This is CBC Saturday News.
$3,000 new COVID-19 cases for a second day in a row. It comes as the province enters emergency brake shutdown. But with critical care pushed to its limit, some doctors are warning the latest measures don't go far enough. Lorenda Redicop reports.
Restaurant patios closed for business as of today, one of the few changes in Toronto and neighboring Peel region under a province-wide emergency brake. They were only just allowed to open again 2 weeks ago.
When we get a chance to start something and we get excited, then it gets taken away from us. It is defeating. We fully support the need for public safety and health and safety for everyone. But after a year, it is daunting.
Plus, infectious diseases experts say meeting outside is lower risk. They want extra protections for people doing essential work inside.
The emergency brake will not work. We are in so much trouble.
New daily cases are up, above 3,000 for 2 days in a row, with 39 more people dying with the virus. And there are more people in Ontario ICUs with COVID-19 than ever during this pandemic, 447, with 43 new admissions yesterday. Doctors say many of the patients they're seeing are younger, in their 40s and 50s, often essential workers from low-income neighborhoods, and their family members.
One of my patients, her husband was forced to go to work at a factory. I've never had a patient so close to death in my career. It took 5 doctors, actually 17 people yesterday, to keep her alive. And she may still die, and she's in her mid-40s, and that didn't have to happen.
Later, he wrote an update on Twitter that patient had died. Under this shutdown, malls and stores can remain open at limited capacities. So can places of worship. Some doctors are repeating the call for paid sick days and more vaccinations in high-risk communities.
Right now we have 90% of the cases in Ontario coming from 10% of the postal codes. So really, this is a matter of getting the fire engines and the fire trucks where the fires are actually burning. We need to get the vaccines to the workplaces, the factories, the warehouses.
The government is moving into its next phase of vaccinations that includes essential workers, though timelines and exactly who's included aren't clear. Lorenda Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
As Lorenda mentioned, yesterday's and today's number of COVID cases in Ontario are the 2 highest single daily case counts since mid-January. Here's the breakdown by region. Toronto close to 1,000 cases today, while Peel is just short of 500. York Region with over 300 cases, more than 200 in Ottawa, and close to 150 in Hamilton. And again, while those COVID numbers are the highest they've been since January, vaccinations are picking up. Toronto hit a record of more than 30,000 people booked to get vaccinated, and just over 400,000 people have received at least 1 dose. Our Dahlia Ashby joins us live from St. Joseph's Hospital tonight. But before we get into that, Dahlia, you were at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. How was the turnout this long weekend?
That's right, Maribel. I'm at St. Joseph's Hospital, and like I said, I'll get to in a minute to why I'm here, but let's just backtrack a little and say earlier today I was at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, and there actually wasn't much of a long lineup there like there was yesterday. Now, just today the city has told us that over 113,000 people have managed to book an appointment and that's just from the morning. Now, while I was there were some lucky people that managed to get their vaccination, and I spoke to 2 people that came down from North York, and while one of the people told me she was able to get her vaccine shot, the other person that she was with, he told me that he wasn't lucky enough to get his.
And I had to book his, and by the time I got back, it wasn't until like next week, which is the 11th.
Well, I'm not coming back down here again because it's, I'm too disappointed now. And so I'll just go to my local pharmacy, I think, and try and get my shot from there.
Now, if people were unlucky and weren't able to get their appointments over the internet today, they could phone in and book an appointment for next time. Now, let's talk about people who are 50 years and older in hotspots. Now, as we know right now, they can get their first dose appointments at St. Joseph's or St. Michael's COVID-19 vaccine clinics. I reached out to Michael Garron Hospital, and they told us that yesterday, anyone 50 years old and up living in certain hotspot zones could get their shot at the Thorncliffe Park Community Hub COVID-19 immunization clinic. But as of this morning, they are fully booked, and that is for up until April 5th. The clinic told us that more vaccine appointments will open up early next week for the week of April 12th. But social medicine Dr. Anthony Buzari says while clinics in hotspots areas is a great start, when we're talking about vaccine hesitancy, that's just one of the issues when tackling the hotspot areas. And amongst that, other issues that need to be tackled is accessibility.
We'll have an open clinic here. Come who will always punish people living in poverty because the barriers are there. The 24/7 access, more mobile efforts, more wraparound supports and services going out to people, and the vaccine being delivered by people that populations and communities trust.
And beyond vaccine hesitancy and accessibility, health advocates have also sounded the alarm when it comes to language barriers. And in an effort to solve that problem, the city has launched a campaign which is called the Let's Get Toronto Vaccinated campaign, where there will be ads in several languages like Farsi, Cantonese, and that will begin on Monday. Marival?
All right, some important stuff still to happen here. Thanks for this, Dahlia. Personal services like hair salons have been closed in Toronto since November, and instead of opening in 1 week's time, as was being considered by the province, they are again forced to keep their doors shut. Kristen Rankin is the owner of the Fox and Jane Salon in Toronto. They spoke to CBC News about the impact on their business and industry.
I mean, I don't even really know if I can put it into words fully what it's done to us, but if anyone out there who has a business or works in general can imagine what it's like to not even have had work yet this year, to be shut down for more than 8 months out of a 12-month year cycle. It's so impactful, it's almost impossible to explain, and that's just on the financial and economic side of it. We're not even, I think there's a big part that's not being looked at, which is the mental wellness and mental health of the salon owners, of small business owners in this country, and especially in this province.
The Daily Bread Food Bank kicked off its Easter food drive, raising more than 25,000 pounds of food today. Toronto Mayor John Tory was there to lend a helping hand.
For a year of just unbelievable misery for a lot of people, including people and businesses, to see the spirit of Passover, the spirit of Easter, the spirit of Ramadan, and just the spirit of Toronto on display here again for the Daily Bread, I think it's great.
They were collecting drive-through donations in Etobicoke today. The Daily Bread Food Bank says there has been a 51% increase in visits compared to last year, with many using the bank for the first time due to the pandemic. If you'd like to contribute, donations can be made at any fire hall in the city. The goal is to collect 225,000 pounds of food by April 30th. And the Mississauga Food Bank also kicked off their spring food drive today. They aim to raise $200,000 and 150,000 pounds of food by April 11th. A group of volunteers is trying a new approach to tackle food injustice in the city, and so far it appears to be working. With the help of Friends of Chinatown, Community Fridges Toronto opened their latest edition in Chinatown. As Jessica Ng tells us, this new fridge has a story all its own.
There's a new tenant on Darcy Street in Chinatown. On the door of this community fridge, in several languages, it reads, "Take what you need, leave what you can." There's a range of items inside, including sweet potatoes, feminine hygiene products, and easy prep meal items. It's a tried and true method. They're set up by Community Fridges Toronto, a volunteer network that launched its first fridge in July and has 7 others across the city. The network's Parkdale Community Fridge has quickly become a staple of the community.
We are losing our health. We're really not eating properly, and this is very healthy food that we can all share.
Trevor Hardy self-identifies as low income and says he comes by the fridge several times a week. He says it has become increasingly popular, especially with limited availability of meeting spaces during the pandemic.
People are here hanging out every day, just waiting for vegetables or necessities, because the price of groceries are really expensive right now.
He says he sees volunteers come by every day to sanitize it. In November, the city cited sanitation and public safety concerns to have this Queen Street West fridge removed. But Community Fridges Toronto disputes that and was able to have it put back and reopened thanks to community support. Wenting Lee and Andrew Moreno visit the Dunn Avenue site regularly.
People that are not within a certain bracket kind of get swept under the rug, so it's good to think of them and bring them back as people, you know.
The approach with the new Chinatown fridge is similar but more targeted. Let's take a look. The fridge is currently stocked with king oyster mushrooms, yogurt drinks, and even hoisin sauce, food and products that are specific to what's popular for Chinatown residents. Those who help to maintain and stock the fridge say it means a lot to be able to give back to their community in this way. In a statement to CBC News, volunteers from Community Fridges Toronto say the pandemic has highlighted the injustices our neighbors face. Mutual aid is a way to directly care for one another to fill the gaps our system has created and failed to respond to. Community members like Hardy say they're just grateful for the work CFTO has done over the past year.
We're all members of the community, and we really help each other out by giving, and that's the most important part of it.
The volunteer network hopes the Chinatown fridge becomes as much a part of its community as the other fridges have. Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
Sophia's here with our first look at the forecast. Boy, this past week kind of had a little bit of everything. Makes me wonder what's to come.
We'll take that big breath of relief. We'll be much more even keel for this next big week of April, and actually a really typical spring weekend for this first week in April. Not too many surprises up our sleeves, which is kind of nice. Really typical spring showers moving through the GTA right now. Some heavier pushes coming through the city of Toronto, and you're seeing that rain now in the Whitby, Pickering, Oshawa area. It's moving from west to east, a few heavier bands coming off the Georgian and the Huron shores. That'll be on your doorstep in the Burlington, Hamilton, and Oakville area over the next hour or so. But for much of the day, it was a mix of sun and cloud. We're bang on sort of seasonal temperatures for this time of year. We're a couple degrees below that right now. Really gusty winds still. We've seen some 50, 60 kilometer-hour gusts over the past 24 hours. That will continue into the overnight before the clouds come in and push out all that rain. And then it's chilly into the overnight. -1 feeling like -5. And it will remain chilly for your Sunday morning long-eared visitors that come in to leave the Easter eggs. So dress the kids warm for their egg hunts on Sunday morning. We'll feel like -2 in the city of Toronto, -1 for those of you in Hamilton. Not so bad though. We've had some past Easters I can remember that were white Easters. So the most we'll have this year maybe is some muddy and cold bunny paws. Will be a few degrees above seasonal. Should be about 9 this time of year. Will be 11 for the rest of your Easter Sunday and Easter Monday. A pleasant spring day. Both days will be a little bit cooler around the lake shores, but we're hovering just about seasonal. So in the long range, we will talk, not too many surprises, but we do have some showers in the forecast for your shortened work week. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, Sophia.
Thanks.
I'm Talia Ricci, and coming up, we visit a chocolate maker and an Italian shop. A warning, some of these traditions might make you hungry.
Since the pandemic started, we've been hearing more and more stories of anti-Asian racism. A recent report by the Toronto chapter of the Chinese-Canadian National Council reveals some sobering numbers. According to the report, there were more than 1,000 cases of both verbal and physical attacks against Asians in Canada from March of 2020 to February 2021. And since the start of the pandemic, Canada had more anti-Asian racism reports per capita than the United States. Amy Go is the president of the Chinese-Canadian National Council for Social Justice in Toronto. She says there are things bystanders can do to help if they witness an incident of racism.
Bystander support that can be done, distract, delegate, document, direct, as well as, support. But all these really should also be looked at the safety issue, and call for help is probably the most logical thing, and to rally the others and draw the attention of the others to support the individual. And again, I think to differentiate in public places as well as in a workplace. I think there are many times that workplaces do not think about that their own employees can perpetrate such hate incidents. And so let's differentiate that and ensure that in all workplaces there are support and there's anti-racism guidelines. And then in public places, I think it's important that when people ask for help, let's do the utmost that we can when it's safe to do that. Distracting, calling, yelling, screaming, dropping some coins on the floor, and playing music just to distract and call for help probably, would at least, momentarily, if not, just take away that tension and help the individuals who are being targeted.
And that's a live look at Ottawa this evening. Coming up, Sophia will be back with your weather forecast for the rest of this long weekend. Stay with us. The Raptors' very own Pascal Siakam says he wants to help tackle barriers for students interested in computer technology. Siakam's PS43 Foundation Canada just launched a new program called Coding for Champions.
I think learning new skills is super important as we continue to develop and grow through life, especially in this world where technology has taken over.
They selected students from 2 schools in Parkdale for the program. It's a 10-week virtual course. Each participant gets a laptop with all the software needed for information technology and website development. It's been a good week for the Raptors star. The team had a decisive win against the Golden State Warriors last night, and Siakam also celebrated his 27th birthday yesterday. Well, many families are celebrating Easter with their household this weekend. And while there won't be big get-togethers for the second year in a row, one tradition does remain strong: Easter treats. Local businesses say there's still a huge demand. Talia Ricci learned more about some of these traditions.
This bread, these cheeses, these cured meats, and these spicy olives paired with this beautiful golden Easter bread is such an important symbol of Easter for us.
So obviously I would love if we could picnic together and I could dig into these olives here, but we have to stay masked. How has the last Easter and this Easter been impacted by COVID for you and your family?
We feel very lucky that the bakery has been sort of like a haven for people to come and have a place that is familiar, even though we only let a certain amount of people in the store.
What does Easter mean around here and to you?
One of the main things that we remember is Easter Monday, which is called Pasquetta, which growing up we called it Luni Pascuni. That was our Calabrese dialect word for it. We would always run up to my grandmother's house. She would have the Easter bread that was from Easter. We would always eat it with soppressata and capocollo and cheese. It would be like a picnic in the city.
So my name is Mariana Oliveira. I am the founder and the chocolatier behind Mary's Brigadeiro handcrafted chocolate. So Easter is basically our second holiday. If you think about it, our second Christmas is one of the busiest time of the year for us. We'll be like sending out around 500 or 600 chocolate Easter eggs between now and until Monday. Our head chocolatier, Victoria, created a chocolate bar that's a layer of chocolate, brigadeiro filling that's like a ganache, covered with chocolate again, and sprinkled with a few mini Easter eggs. And one of the most popular that we call dual chocolate Easter egg. And the gift wrapping, it's made with fabric. And all the story behind is a women that work together to bring this collection to life. Chocolate for me means happiness and joy when we want to be together with others.
I hope that for next year, people can get together and they could enjoy food and they can sit at a table and they could cheers and laugh and feel that joy that we've all missed.
I feel the same. I know. If you had to choose, would it be the sweets or that lovely spread of meats and breads?
Well, I've already been choosing the chocolate. We had to put it in the freezer to get it away from eyesight over the last little while. But how do you choose? It all looks so good. I don't think we need to choose this weekend. In my own mind, I'm a chocolatier as well, in my own kitchen. One can dream. And really nice talking about this kind of seasonal stuff again. And we'll be talking about cherry blossoms as well over the next few weeks. A real seasonal spring Easter weekend, warming trend for this upcoming work week. Even keel will be the name of the game. Pleasant temperatures, mild spring weather. It has been a while folks, since I've been able to show you a 7-day trend that hasn't been going up and down like a roller coaster. We will be hovering just around or above seasonal for really this entire 7-day forecast, and this is why. Big, sprawling high pressure really goes all the way from the Gulf of Mexico to the Atlantic provinces. Clockwise motion. We're getting the southerly flow around that. It is keeping it calm and stable for the next week. We could tap into a few light spotty showers, but not too much to write home about. Maybe late Monday and late Tuesday, more of a southwestern Ontario type story. Not even enough really to register in the icons. So plenty of time for the dry, warm heat, for some outdoor socially distanced walks. And remember maybe to get out and water some of those flowers, especially some of those in planters or maybe some of your seedlings. We had a lot of rain to end off the last week of March, but really remember, for the first 3 weeks of March, we barely got 3 millimeters of rain. We got a month's worth of rain in that last week, and it will be dry over this coming week. So get out there, water some of those flowers, and enjoy a chilly Sunday morning Easter egg hunt with the kiddies and all of that chocolate. We'll talk to you soon.
All of it. Thanks, Sophia.
You're welcome.
And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. You can stay caught up on news anytime on our website, cbcnews.ca. And if you go out on that Easter egg hunt tomorrow, stay safe. Good night.